We're now down to 5. I was very lenient on team logic in the last task, and I only fired Jake. So now we're down, instead of 4, we've got an additional person. That makes it a lot harder for all of you to get into the final task. So it's a lot more competitive. 5 places, and there's only 5 people and only 2 places. In this particular task, you're not in groups, you're not in teams, it's all about you. In this task, you need to be able to sell yourself and to make sure that you are the ideal person to win this competition and to win this process. On that basis, this task is all about recruitment. Ideally, you are going through a series of job interviews with a number of people who work closely with me. You will have 4 interviews. Each interviewer who interviews you will then feed back to me the 2 most positive people based on the feedback I've received. So I'll receive the most positive comments. We'll go through to the final task and we'll get into the final to compete and to win the opportunity to be the next JRCS apprentice. The remaining 3 people will be fired when I next see you in this boardroom. Do we understand? Best of luck. The task begins on Thursday morning. You've got 24 hours to prepare what you're going to say, how to be able to answer the questions that they're going to be asking you, and why you should be the next JRCS apprentice. I'll see you in the boardroom next week. Thank you.
And why should you be the next JRCS apprentice? Right, can you tell me a bit about yourself, please? And what's your definition of success?
Have you been watching the current apprentice show on BBC?
Yeah, I have.
Who's your favourite entrepreneur and why? What business would you like to set up yourself?
Why did you apply for the apprentice? You like making money. Have you ever made money in the past? You've completed the CV. Why did you do this?
Good afternoon. Right, your task this week was to meet some of my colleagues in the business department and to be interviewed by them. Essentially, I've got all their feedback here in front of me. Tom, how do you think you performed?
I did good, I think. I was quite confident and I got what I wanted to say across the
Okay. Emerald?
I think I did well in the first interview and the third one, but the second one was really bad.
Okay, why?
I didn't know anything that she was asking me.
Okay. Teva, how did you perform? Teva, how did you perform? Anything you think, any person in particular, Mr. Murray, Miss Wright, or Miss Howe, performed? Okay, Tarita?
I think I did okay.
Any particular interview that you might have done well in? And Lewis, finally.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous in the first one, but after that I was quite confident.
Who did you see first?
Miss Wright.
That's right. Okay. Essentially, guys, feedback across the 3 individuals was reasonably positive. Positive from different things. Each individual, each teacher, and member of the business department saw different things in each of you. But essentially, they saw some aspects of positiveness for everyone. So that's really good. So that means at the halfway stage, where we originally started with 10 candidates, we're down to 5, that each of the 5 of you deserve to be here for different reasons. Okay? I'm going to briefly go through exactly what was said. First of all, Lewis, Miss Howe was really, really impressed with you. She found that you were very confident, well spoken, different from the others in many areas. She thought you were very keen. Right? She was really, really positive and had lots of things, good things to say about you. For Mr. Murray, he was overly pleased with Teba. He found that you performed really, really well. Again, capable of winning, you can be put down. He said you gave good examples of where you organised the team and so forth. And the idea that you would do the jobs that everyone else hates. For example, brushing the floor, doing those jobs that necessarily people think that they're beyond them, or not good enough to do, or too good to do, more like. Tom, Miss Wright spoke very highly of you. The CV aspect for all the individuals was quite a good thing to do and very positive, using your own initiative, albeit it wasn't a perfect CV, but it did show your skills and what skills you feel were necessary, and that again came across very well. Emeralds, you had very good positive feedback from both Miss Howe and Mr. Murray. Again, you came across quite well, quite confident, quite clear, and projected a good image. Unfortunately, from Miss Wright, the feedback wasn't so positive. For the simple reason, as you said, you couldn't answer any of her questions. And it just went through, was probably, as she said, the quickest interview she's ever done. There was nothing there. So from straight away, that was a negative aspect. Tom, the feedback from you also was that at times you appeared cocky and arrogant. While that in some aspects can be a good thing in business, that you seek, you find out what you want and you take it ahead, again it's something you may need to look at. Teba, while you were, majority of people said that you were very good, key weakness was essentially that this process has shown your skills, but before that there was very little there. Okay, and that's a good thing that this whole apprentice has brought you out of your shell, but there's no examples or clear examples beforehand of where you would have done business activities. Does that make sense? Dorita, again, very positive in general. The only thing that they found was, just here, sorry, I need to read again just to remind me. The job was beneath you. Okay? The actual task of brushing the floor, you said you wouldn't do. Okay? There was also a topic from somebody else that mentioned that you have no interest in setting up a business. Am I correct in saying that?
No, I said I didn't know what
You didn't know what set up. Okay. Lewis, again, Miss Howe was very, very positive about you. Mr. Murray and Miss Wright weren't. Okay? They found that your answers in comparison to the rest of the people here weren't as strong. But Miss Howe, as I said, found one of the strongest. Alright, so take that on board that as the process went through, you got better. So that's a good thing. That you learned from the initial interview of Miss Wright. Then you went on to Mr. Murray, you got better. But then Miss Howe is obviously your last one you were the best at. So that's a skill, you've adapted and made the correct changes to get better at the process going through. Again, overall guys, you were really, really good. I'm impressed. The fact that you had 3 sets of interviews, one after the other, quite intense. You all did reasonably well. However, somebody has to go. And the general feeling that I got from all 3 members was the same 2 people stood out. They are the 2 people that are going to go forward next week and to represent the school in the first JRCS final task.